Let's knit a thing. Oh, hi. Once you grow sheep, you never grow cheap.
Oh, hi! Welcome to Saketra, episode 24. I'm Shannon, and this is my podcast about knitting and sometimes sewing. So, welcome if you're coming back, and welcome if you're brand new. I am super excited about today's episode, actually, because I have so many things to show you. And I just cut my bangs. And I'm pretty sure I have little sharp hairs in my eyes because it hurts. So if I start bleeding out my eyes, that's why. You can find me on Instagram as Shannon Mariah, and you can find me on Ravelry and Periscope as Shannon Fisher. And we have a soxcetera Ravelry group under the name soxcetera. And just before I forget, I haven't talked about this since I announced the beginning of both of these cals. So I have two cals going on right now. One is the Summer Blanket Blitz, and Mina from the Knitting Expat and I are doing that together. And that's going on just for a few more days until August 31st. And people are chatting and sharing their stuff in the Rav group and on Instagram with the hashtag Summer Blanket Blitz. And it's just so lovely to see what you're working on, and I super appreciate you all being there without me really participating at all. I'm just so thankful that you have each other and that you're excited about it, because I have not worked on my blanket one iota. I meant to start Mina's new pinwheel, scrubby pinwheel pattern, and I haven't done that either, but a lot of you have, and they're so beautiful. And something banging outside. They're so beautiful, and I'm really excited to draw prizes for that. And then the second cal that we have going on, you have a little bit more time for. You could even start something if you wanted. And that is the Canadian cal. And I'll put the hashtag here because I can't think of it right now, because again, I have not participated in that. But a lot of you have been posting on Ravelry in the group, and you've been cross-posting with other groups because there's a whole bunch of podcasters participating in this Canadian cal. And you're making the loveliest things. So I also have prizes for that, and that goes until at the end of September. So prizes for that will be drawn at the end of September and sent out hopefully much sooner than my last chunk of prizes were sent out. So make sure you get your Blanket Blitz stuff, your Summer Blanket Blitz stuff in before the end of the month, because I will be closing that thread soon. So I just wanted to talk about that before I forgot, because I haven't talked about it at all. I keep forgetting, not putting in my show notes or doing a show without show notes. So just so that you're aware that that's happening. Yay for cows! It's been a while since I've podcasted. Well, I haven't been podcasting regularly, so I just need to relax. I haven't really felt myself the last couple episodes. I felt a little high-strung and a little nervous, which, I don't know, seems silly because I'm on my 24th episode. You think I'd be a little bit more relaxed. But I did a Periscope yesterday morning, and my friend Marcia, who is very little, on the socials and has the Twitch and Stitch podcast. She said that I was the most relaxed she'd ever seen me on Periscope. And I was like, yeah, I felt relaxed. I was just like, hey guys, let's hang out, let's have fun. And it was so chill and nice. And so it was nice that I could relax there. So I don't know what my issue is right now, but hopefully I'll chill out as we go along. Let's see what happens. I'm just really glad you're here. If you're still here. Are you still here? My family has been traveling. We actually are supposed to still be on the road. We're supposed to be in Florence, Oregon right now, at a campsite called South Jetty, where like steps away from the beautiful sand dunes and a great beach. But while we were in Tillicum, which is just between Waldport and another place that I cannot, why it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, Tillicum, which is also in Oregon, Emma got sick. Just a head cold, but she was feeling crummy enough that we were like, do you want to just go home? And so we did. We were going to just jet home in one day because it's about an 8-hour trip, I think, with the trailer. But then we hit rush hour traffic in Seattle, and it was gross. And our RV storage place closes at 8:30, and we still had to come back to the house and unload a bunch of stuff, and we just knew we were not going to make it. So we stopped in a campground that we love in La Conner, which is in Washington, and we were just going to stay the night and leave the next morning and come home on the Tuesday of this previous week. But Emma met a pal, and she seemed to be feeling better. So we were like, do you want to stay here till Friday? So we stayed camping there in La Conner till Friday, which was fun because we got to do a little bit of exploring. I was working on a project and I needed a needle for it, so we checked out a couple of the local yarn stores, one in La Conner and one in Anacortes, and they're both really cute yarn shops. The one in La Conner I'd been to before, but they just recently moved locations, and this new location is so much better. It's just laid out really nicely, and it's peaceful in there, and it's nice and clean. It was a little bit claustrophobic in their last location, so if you're ever in La Conner, definitely check that out. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's a great store. And then the one in Anacortes, again, can't remember the name, but it's like tucked away in a little back alley, and it's so cute, and they dye everything in their store in-house. So they had a yarn line called NGA, and it stood for Never Get Again, because she got a whole bunch of it, and then they stopped supplying the base for it, so it's all like one-of-a-kind yarn. I thought that was really cute. So I got a needle from them, and actually some wool wash because I didn't have any of that with us. So now I have some for the trailer, a little travel size. So yeah, if you're ever in the Washington area, Washington, that whole like where the San Juan Islands start, it's so gorgeous there. It's actually one of Steve's parents' favorite places to go down because they live in White Rock, which is right basically on the US-Canada border, and so they just jet across in like half an hour and go exploring for the day and take ferries here and there, and they love it over there. So yeah, if you're ever there and get a chance to do some exploring, definitely don't miss your opportunity. So we're back now, and we're just chilling because we're technically on holidays. We just finished producing and running a big conference, so we've been recovering from that, exhausted, sleeping lots and just chilling lots. I got so much knitting done while we were camping because it's basically all I did from morning until night, with the exception of taking walks on the beach or driving down the coast, which if you follow my channel at all, you'll see that I posted a recap video of some of our adventures. And that was my first vlog. It was fun to make, but I couldn't believe how much time it took me. I thought, oh, is this just going to be a quick video? Turns out all those 2-minute, 30-second, 15-second clips added up to 40 minutes of video. And I was like, nobody's going to watch a 40-minute recap video. So I tried, my goal was to like cut it down to 3 to 5 minutes, and managed to get it down to 10. So if you're interested even in just watching a couple minutes of that, you can see how beautiful our surroundings were on that particular holiday. And the purpose of that holiday was primarily because Steve's parents just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. And so we had planned to fly his brother out and just all camp together and go out for a really nice meal while we were together. Steve's brother is actually not in the best health right now, so he wasn't able to make it, but we had so much fun with his parents, and we had a really nice meal one night on the water. Unfortunately, it was a super fogalicious day, so our view wasn't great, but we still like were able to watch the waves come crashing in, which is mesmerizing. I love, love, love the ocean so much, and there's just something so spectacular about the Oregon coast ocean. I do not know what it is. It's just so different from any other ocean experience I've had. So yeah, it's been a great few weeks, and I feel really thankful to have been able to take that time to just do absolutely nothing and all the things that I love doing. And it's great to be back home too, because I am very much a homebody, so staycation is no burden for me. I was actually maybe a little bit secretly glad that Emma wanted to come home. And once we decided to stay longer at the last campground, I had to like kind of switch my brain back to like being on the road, because I had already gotten excited about coming home. And Steve was like, are you okay with staying till Friday? And I was like, yeah, I just needed a couple minutes. But yeah, I do really love camping too. There's something about being in the trailer that's just so relaxing. And we'll be doing another trip. We're leaving for another big trip mid-October, shortly after Mid-City. And we're going back down the coast for 6 weeks this time, because Steve will be speaking at a conference in San Diego. So we're going to try and we are going to drive down there for his conference, and then we're just going to meander our way. We're going to hopefully see the Grand Canyon, the Hoover Dam. We're going to see Palm Springs. We're going to camp back along the coast in California. We're going to camp. We have a couple nights booked on the Big Sur, which is really, really cool. We drove past a few of the Big Sur campgrounds last fall, and thought, ooh, it'd be cool to camp here someday. So we snagged a couple of those spots. So yeah, watch for those recaps, because there'll be more ocean views if you're not bored of them. But that'll be a working holiday, because after this next week we're back hitting the office, at home office work job. I almost said hitting the books. It doesn't make any sense. We're back to work next week. Well, I am. Steve and Emma actually will be in Disneyland for her birthday. They have seasons passes, so they've been trying to make the most of those this year. And I have gone a couple times, but I'm Disneyland maxed out, actually. I love it, but I don't love it the way they love it. So I just said, that's why don't I stay home with the pups? You guys go. Just devour Disneyland, do your thing, and I'll just be here holding down the fort. So they're super excited about that. So that should be good for them too. So that takes us to Shouty Shan. And Shouty Shan, if you're just joining us for the first time, is a segment of the podcast where I share things that I'm learning, things that are making me think, that are helping me be a better human. And those generally have to do with social justice issues. Feminism, racism, ableism, all the isms. I have made a point of surrounding myself with people who are thick into thinking about this and writing about it and talking about it. And so I make sure that I consume everything that they put out because they often spark on ideas and thoughts that I honestly hadn't considered. And it helps me learn more and do better. So, Shouty Shan is about me bringing you along for the ride. So I'm going to keep it brief today. This is just a really small quote by a writer named Ijoma Ulu. She writes primarily for a publication called The Establishment, but I also follow her on Facebook, and her writing actually is everywhere. And she is a brilliant thinker. So she has this to say: I will always try to believe people. I will always try to hear people, especially marginalized people, when they say, "This hurts me." And I will do my best to never say, "Prove it." And when I fail to do this, I will do my best to get over my ego and apologize. Yes, it's risky to bet on the side of people. Yes, it's risky to trust people when you can't always relate to what they're saying. But the alternative is far worse. Just again on that thread of listening to people, hearing them, believing them, and shutting up, really. Giving them space to talk and to be believed. So I really liked that, and I thought I would share it with you. And this takes us to finished objects. Oh wait, let's pause for a dance party, shall we?
I'm wondering what you got for me. Egyptian pattern is hard to beat, my lady only. I'm wondering what you got for me. Egyptian pattern is hard to beat, my lady only. I asked you for the time. You got the damn right.
What?
Everything you do gives me butterflies.
So as you saw, I have 4 things that I got. Four, not 8, 4 still. I got 4 things that I have to talk about today that I got off the needles while I was camping. So exciting. Let's start with, we'll go from the smallest to the biggest. So I know I talked about these a little bit in episode 23, but they weren't technically off the needles yet, even though I put them under the finished objects section. And these are just my vanilla socks. And I knit all my socks 2 at a time, toe up, with magic loop. I was just watching a podcast, and the 2 people on there, both of them hate magic loop, and I was like, oh, I can't even imagine magic loop has saved my hide. I would not finish socks. I would have so many single socks with no mates, if it wasn't for magic loop 2 at a time. I don't know how people do it, because once I've knit with yarn for that long and I've done one thing, like the thought of having to do this thing again with the same yarn, such a bummer. Like, and I know it because I get to the end of these and I always think, whew, I'm glad that they're both done. Like I know I wouldn't do it. So I did these vanilla, just plain vanilla, and I don't really use a pattern anymore when I do socks. I just do my favorite cast on, which is the Turkish cast on, which is witchcraft. Wrap the yarn around the needles, start knitting, and I cast on 16. I knit until I had 32 on each needle, so it's a 64 stitch sock. I did a Flegel heel, which I love, with a slip stitch, pattern on the heel flap, and it's alternating, so I think it's called the Eye of Partridge heel. And then I did, I don't know, however long that is. It's not a very long sock. I don't like my socks very long. And then I just did about an inch of ribbing in 2x2. And then I did Jenny's surprisingly stretchy cast off, bind off. And voila, these are my socks. And that's, what's it called? Drops Fabble. I want to say Fable, but someone told me it's Fabble, so I believed them. So those are my socks. Yay, a pair of socks, done. And those were super enjoyable to knit. The yarn was scratchy, so every once in a while it felt like it was like making my fingers callous. But I love the scratchy yarns. I really love them. Something really woolly about them. The next thing I got off my needle is this hat. Let me look my show notes so I make sure I get this right. This is the Shire Stones hat, and it's by Mina Phillip of the Knitting Expat podcast. And it was a test knit that she asked me to do. I had until July 10th to finish it. Oops, sorry, Mina. I had such good intentions. I cast on like the second she sent it to me, and I think I got the brim done like right away. But anyways, I love it. I wish I had made it a little bit longer. I wish it was a little bit slouchier, but I thought I was running out of yarn, and I was. I don't think I have the little remnants from it, but I definitely could have done like probably 4 more rows, but that's okay. So it's got this really fun alternating pearl pattern. These little 2 little pearl stitches that alternate to make this great fabric. So I really like this. It turned out great, and I love the color. And I made this just from some yarn that I have no idea where the yarn came from. I did not buy it. But it's called Ashford Takapo. No idea. And I actually have another ball of it in a different color. I think it's a purple color. And it's just 100% New Zealand wool. So, and it's worsted weight. But yeah, I have no, like, it looks old, so I feel like maybe someone gave it to me from their stash a long time ago, I think, when I first started knitting, because it's definitely been in my stash for a while. So when Mina asked me to knit this hat, I thought, I'm going to go stash diving instead of buying something new for it. And so I did. And it's fun. It's, you knit an extra long 2x2 rib brim, and then you fold it over and you knit into it, so that it's just like it's just that way. It's permanently folded over, and it's seamless on the front. And yeah, I really love how it turned out. Yeah. So yeah, I do wish it was a little bit slouchier. I do like my hats a little bit slouchy, but still really cute. So even though it took me a while, that's a really fun, quick knit if you're looking for some fun toque for the winter. I highly recommend this pattern. That takes us to the most recent thing I got off my needles, which I actually started on a Monday and I finished it on a Thursday, late on a Thursday, and that this was just this past week. And that is this, a tank top by José Paquin, I believe her name is. She's French. She's originally from Quebec somewhere, I think. José Paquin. And this is called Calvé. And it's very, very simple, fast, wonderful knit. I saw this actually, I follow her on Instagram and I saw it, I think I saw it sometime in July, and then I knew that I wanted to knit it next. So when I was in Portland with my friend Robin, I went shopping and specifically having this pattern in mind. And it was my first time working with linen. And I chose to work with the Lang yarns, and it's called their linen worsted weight is called lino, so it's Lang lino. And I got it from the store in Portland called Twisted, which is a wonderful store if you ever have the chance to go there. And they had a really amazing color selection. So in retrospect, I'm not really sure why I went with brown and black, because I'm not really a brown and black person. I really like fun, vibrant colors. So I do have a little bit of color regret, but I still love it. I still love it because I made it in 4 days, but I'm not a fast knitter, so I honestly didn't knit it fast. I would get out of bed, I would pick up my needles and knit. Steve would make me breakfast. I would pause to go walk the dogs. Maybe I would make us supper. Maybe he would make us supper. And then I would knit until like midnight or 1 in the morning. So I had a long 4 days of knitting to get this done. Now it's a great pattern. It's a simple pattern. It has this optional asymmetrical side. You can choose to either just knit it straight down, or you can knit it A-line, and then you can also choose to add this short row section where one side is longer. So I did an A-line and I added the short row section. Now I decided, because I hate wraps and turns, that I was going to instead do the twin stitch, because I did the twin stitch on this sweater, which I'm going to talk about next. And the twin stitches are what you do in the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, if you've ever done that. Aces, easy peasy. I love it because wraps and turns super mess me up every single time. So I thought I'm going to do the twin stitch on these short rows. And everything was going along fine and dandy. I watched the video. There's a tutorial on YouTube for the twin stitch knit and the twin stitch purl. Watched both of them like 3 times. A 4th time while I was doing it. But then when I was done all the short rows and I went and I picked up all of the wraps, which they weren't wraps, I picked up all of the twin stitches. All of the ones that I had purled were wholly. And it was like 12:30 at night. I was like thinking, I am almost done. I just have the ribbing to do. And I was just like, I don't even care. I'm just going to leave them. Because I was so discouraged that I had done that. And I didn't know how to fix. I tried to fix one. I tried to like tink back and figure out how to do it. And I was just making the hole bigger. And when I realized that it had done it for all of them, so on all one side, I have those holes on all the side where the purling was. The side where the knitting twin stitches were, it worked out perfectly fine. So on this side, perfectly fine, invisible, can't see. On this side, so yeah, on this side, is it this side? On this side, you can see. Oh, that's the wrong side. What am I showing you? So yeah, all along there, you can see like every 7 stitches. There's a hole there, there's a hole there, a hole there, hole there, hole there. And it's pretty big. But because it was so uniform, I was just like, I'm just going to call it personality, because that's what I usually call my mistakes that I can't figure out how to fix or don't have the patience to fix. So yeah, you can see it better there. Right along the bottom there, you can see all those holes. And then on this side, it doesn't have it. So when I wear it, you can't even tell. And at first, because I had just finished this sweater and I was feeling so accomplished, I was feeling like I'm a big time knitter now, I know how to do all the things. And then this happened and I just was completely deflated. I had this moment of like almost crying, and Steve was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I have this mistake and it's all the way around, and I don't know how to fix it, and it's making me feel really not smart and like a total amateur. So once I actually just kept knitting as I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do? Am I going to take back? Am I going to leave it, take it to knit night and see if someone can help me? Am I going to rip it out? Am I going to like I just didn't know what I was going to do, but I kept knitting as I was thinking about it. And then just the more I knit, the more I realized that it just kind of looked uniform, and that it was really part of my personality to leave it, and that it's okay to sometimes just leave your mistakes in there. And that doesn't make you a bad, unaccomplished knitter. It just means that you have a certain style and you have certain personality tendencies, and mine are not perfection. So anyways, so that's that. So be ready to do some wraps and turns, or whatever method you use for short rows. And yeah, make sure to choose colors that you love if you do this pattern, because I do regret just having this bland color scheme. I mean, I still really like it, and I've already worn it, and I do love it, but I wish I had chosen differently. So the exciting thing about this is that Jose, the designer, I got in touch with her, and because a few of you have asked me about it on Instagram already when I posted it, and so I said I'd love to do a giveaway. And so she has donated a pattern to one lucky winner. So all you have to do to win this pattern, which is called Calvé, is post a comment in the down bar, post a comment below the YouTube video, right on YouTube, and tell me what colors you would knit this in. So it calls for, yeah, a worsted weight linen, and Jose knit it in, I believe, Quince & Co.'s worsted weight linen is Kestrel? Is that the name? So she knitted in that. So maybe take a look at their yarns, or go look at Lang Lino or whatever. Tell me what colors you would knit it in. What colors would you have chosen? Because maybe I'll do another one, and maybe I'll do a more vibrant palette. So yeah, your chance to win the pattern for this. And we can be twinsies. So thanks for that, Jose. I super appreciate it. And I look forward to finding out who wins this wonderful, wonderful pattern. I just want to talk a little bit about knitting with linen. it was really fun and amazing to knit with, but every once in a while it felt like I was knitting with twisted up tissue, which sounds disgusting and sounds like it would completely turn you off of knitting with linen, but it didn't. I loved it. And I partly loved it because, I mean, you knit this with 5mm needles, so that's a size 8, which is wonderful. And after knitting this in fingering weight with 3.5mm, this was truly a quick, delightful knit. So it didn't, even though that texture is weird, linen is a weird, I mean, now that it's been blocked, it's not so tissue-like, but while I was knitting with it, I was like, oh, is this kind of like twisted up Kleenex? But I still didn't mind it. So that takes us to this beauty. Guys, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you don't know, but I finished my breathing space sweater. And I'm so happy with it. I have like roughly 80 pictures on my Ravelry breathing space project page. So you can go see a bunch of those pictures. Steve took some fun pictures of me in it on the beach when I finished it. And I love it. I love it so much. I knit it with Malabrigo, or not Malabrigo, with Mad Tosh. And this is Coal Seam, and this color is called Antler. And I think the Coal Seam did bleed into the Antler a little bit. There's like a little purplish tone to the Antler now. But it's not bad at all. I blocked it in really cold water. I didn't use any vinegar because I honestly didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know like if I was supposed to do it with the wool wash and the vinegar, or vinegar first and then wool wash. So I was just like, I'm just gonna see what happens. Sometimes I'm a risk taker when I should not be a risk taker, because can you imagine if it had completely bled into the Antler color and just gone really purple? How sad I would have been. Anyways, so that was fine. I played Yarn Chicken at the end, and there's a picture of me holding what's left, and it's just this teeny tiny piece of yarn, or ball of yarn, because I wanted, it calls for 3/4 sleeves, but I wanted full length sleeves, and I'm really pleased with the sleeve length. And what else can I tell you? Yeah, it blocked out really nicely. It grew a little bit, but not tons. I didn't aggressively block it. I probably could have had it done 2 months ago, but something about the sleeves was daunting to me. So you're supposed to decrease every 2 inches in the beginning. So I did that, and then once the striping ended, I decreased about every inch until I got, and I kept trying the sleeves on, and so yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how they tapered off. So this is the second sweater that I have ever knit. The first sweater I ever knit was Flax by Tin Can Knits, but I don't really love how that fits me. I don't like the yarn I chose. So this is the first sweater that I've ever knit that I love. And guys, like, there's something about knitting yourself a garment. It's like, I'm legit. I'm too legit to quit. I made myself a sweater. A sweater. It's kind of wonderful. So yeah, it was a really great, wonderful, well-written pattern. I do wish that she had broken up, like, her instructions. Her written instructions came in like big chunky paragraphs, so like keeping track of where you were at was a little bit hard. I wish she had like bulleted some of it. That would have just made it a lot easier. But other than that, I have no complaints about this pattern at all. It's really wonderfully executed, and I loved making it. I loved making it so much that it most definitely gave me the garment bug, and I immediately, when I got home, cast on a cardigan, which takes us to works in progress. So actually, I wanted to show you, I have a little bit, this is what I have left of the Lang lino, and I just wanted to show you, it's this cool chain ply. It's kind of flat. It's this flattened, but it's such a neat yarn. So I have that left. I'm not sure what I'll ever do with that. What else can you do with linen? Can you make something tiny with linen? Like a face cloth? Would a linen face cloth be good? What could you make with linen? Or I guess maybe I'll just save it until I do another linen project and incorporate it. So I cast on and finished the yoke for the campside cardi. And I am doing this in yarn by Sweet Georgia, and it's her superwash merino. It's 100% merino, and this is from her seconds stash. So I've told you that her warehouse is here in Vancouver, and she has a whole side of her store dedicated just to seconds, and that's the yarn that doesn't quite meet their standards. And so I got 6 skeins of this orchid colorway, and I was originally going to make Alicia Plummer's Happiness Is pullover sweater, but I realized when I did the calculations that I didn't have enough yardage for it. So the campsite cardi was also on my hit list, and so I cast on immediately for that, and I've already finished the yoke, and I just started this on, when did I start this? On Saturday. Today's Monday. So yeah, it's a DK, and it's knit with 5mm needles, so it's going really, really quickly. And this yarn is so squishy and such a delight to knit with. I just love feeling it on my fingers, and how the needles go through it. So it's like butter. It's so great. So yeah, I'm gonna knit the campsite cardi, but I already know that I'm gonna make it quite a bit shorter. The pattern calls for it to be over the butt length, and I don't want a cardigan that long, so I'm going to take quite a few inches off of it. So I think there's 4 chart sections that you do at the end, there's 4 chart sections that you follow for 4 inches each, and I think I'm going to eliminate the 4th chart completely. So that'll give me a shorter cardigan. The problem is now that I've done the yoke, and I have reached, well, what I need to do is put the sleeve stitches on scrap yarn or needles. I usually put them on needles, so I'm going to put the sleeve stitches on needles. But then I have to start reading the charts, and I have honestly never followed a chart before. I followed a chart for that passerine toque that I did with the birds on it, but that was like a color work chart, and this feels different. This is like a coded chart, and I've looked at it a few times and I don't totally understand it, so I might need a little help with that. I might have to watch some YouTube videos about reading charts, or write out a written pattern for myself. I'm not sure, guys. But that's okay. It's another thing to learn as a knitter. Another thing to put in my knitting CV, if you will. Anyways, is this colorway not gorgeous or what? And it's got this fun sections where it's got this darker pooling. And actually, all these seconds are from the very same dye lot. So I was going to alternate skeins, knit a couple rows with one skein, knit a couple rows with the next one, and do that over and over, but I think I'm going to take a chance and just use one skein at a time. It might bite me in the butt. I might end up with like visible color changing lines. But again, that's part of my personality. If that happened, it wouldn't bug me so much that I would need to frog it. I would be like, it just shows that it's made by Shannon. It's personality. So yeah, that is a risk I am willing to take. I just can't stop looking at this colorway. And it's definitely my color. It's so pretty. If you come to Vancouver, you definitely need to go to the Sweet Georgia store and check out her whole store of seconds. And then I thought I was only going to have one work in progress to talk about today, but this morning I started watching, catching up on a few podcasts, and I picked up a whip I haven't touched in a long time, and that is my Broadway shawl. I finished this whole section. I just had like 4 rows of this, so I finished that. I have one more row before I do another section of this pink stuff. And then I think then I'm really close because, yeah, I just finished that twisted stitch. So I'll move on to this, which is my pink, and then I'll just have these little stripy bits left. And this is this is called the Broadway shawl, and it's by Shannon Cook. I believe I accidentally said it last time that it was by Jane Richmond. They're so interconnected in my mind that I mix them up sometimes. So yeah, Broadway shawl by Shannon Cook, which has been a really fun knit. And I can't remember what yarn I'm using, but it's a Canadian yarn. So I guess I could put this in the Canadian cowl if I ever got my button gear. And it's scratchy and fun, and I love it. So this is gonna be, I hope I could finish this maybe this week. Show it to you by the next podcast. Since I'm taking this week as holidays, it's not a stretch to think that I could do that. I think this shawl is going to be so great. Whew, I had to pause to put my hair in a ponytail. Maureen's sweater is hot, and I was dying, so at least my hair is off my neck. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my Etsy, the soxcetera Etsy shop. All of my Knit Night backpacks are gone. I'm hoping to make a few more of those this week, but I do have some drawstring bags left, which I'm not sure I'm going to be making anymore because I discovered that I really love making zippered bags a lot. So I will definitely be making zippered bags and more Knit Night backpacks, which I'm also loving making, and I've got some fun new fabric for those. So check out my Etsy shops, and you can see what's been sold to see the backpacks that I'm talking about. And then that just takes us to Pod Love. I haven't done Pod Love in a really long time because I haven't been watching any podcasts because I've either been getting ready for the conference or on holidays lately. So I just caught up with a few this morning, and that made me think, I need to send out some love. So the first person I wanted to send out some love to is Joanna. And she has a podcast called Stitching the High Notes. And she is on social medias as Opera Joe. And I've only watched one episode, but Joanna shows up on my Periscope regularly, and she is so delightful. So I already knew I was going to love her podcast, and I know that you're going to love it too, so you should definitely go check her out. She is from the San Francisco Bay Area, and she's an opera singer, and she just has really great energy. I watched the first one, and she already seemed so relaxed and just natural behind the camera. So I can only imagine that her episodes are going to get better and better and better. And I don't think you have many to catch up on her. I think she's only on 11 or 12 maybe. So yeah, she's one you could definitely start from the beginning reasonably so. And then the other one I wanted to talk about, I have been watching for a while, but I don't know that I've ever talked about them on here. And that is West Coast Wolves, which is hosted by Glenda and Bernadette. Glenda owns a store by the same name here in Vancouver called West Coast Wolves. It's a local yarn store, and they're both really lovely. I met Glenda when we drove up to a knitting retreat, and the Okanagan knitting retreat together at the end of May. And I absolutely fell in love with her on that drive. I was so worried about being stuck in a car with someone for 4.5 hours whom I had never met, thinking, what if she doesn't like me? What if I don't like her? What if we have nothing to talk about? And we had so much to talk about, and I really enjoyed her company. And she's just lovely and thoughtful and kind and funny. And her co-host Bernadette is equally as fabulous. And Bernadette works for Glenda, so I think it's pretty telling to someone when they have employees that want to be their friend. I think that makes you a pretty good employer. They just have good chemistry. Bernadette is like the bossier younger sister. They're funny to watch together. Glenda's often getting in trouble for something she's doing that Bernadette doesn't like. And it's always making me laugh. But they have a really great rapport, and they seem to have a lot of fun together, and they knit beautiful and prolifically. So you should definitely check them out if you haven't. And that's my pod love for today. And that wraps up episode 24 of Soxcetera. So yeah, I had fun talking to you today, and it was so much fun to bring you so many things that I've completed, and I'm excited about the new things on my needles. I'm excited to get a few more things off my needles. I'm hoping to maybe give my blanket a little bit of love before the summer blanket blitz ends in a couple days. But if you haven't yet, make sure you post your blanket blitz stuff in my RAV group, in Mina's RAV group, and on Instagram. And keep sharing your Canadian Cow stuff. And yeah, thanks for being here. Follow me on Periscope if you haven't yet. I'm Shan Fisher on Periscope. I'll see you next time on Soxcetera. Big love and squishy hugs.
Okay, you are not a bear, because if you are, you should be
Delete. What am I trying to say? I don't know. Let's just not say it. Let's just read a thing.
Ask for the time. You got the damn right.